So, posted by Phil104 on the forum. The original source is from bbc.co.uk, according to director Ryan Johnson. And you didn't even get as far as letting me say his name without jumping in when we were chatting about this pre-show. What is your deal? You're just gonna sulk there. You're not.
No.
Use your words. You need to use your words.
He hurt me.
Where did he touch you?
In my Star Wars.
Your Star Wars.
I know there's different opinions on this, and I don't want to start a war. I personally do not appreciate
a Star War. I had to.
Oh, that's brutal. I personally do not appreciate the things. I was going to say contribution, but I was like, I don't think that's a worthy word. The things that he did to Star Wars and the Star Wars universe.
You're just upset because Mark Hamill.
That's part of it.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to get way too far into that. Basically, I find this part of something that he had to do with kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
For his latest film, which is a crime mystery. Wow, surprising. There's one character who couldn't have an iPhone because they're like a bad guy.
Yeah. So I actually watched this movie like a couple days ago. It's called Knives Out.
Knives Out. So this would be assumedly whatever Knives Out 2 is going to be. I'm assuming.
Oh, I guess so.
Because he was talking about like...
No, this seems to be past tense. Yeah. Seems to be past tense.
Okay.
So here's the funny thing. I remember running into this quite a little while ago. So in Apple's T's and C's for their products, you actually agree by opening it and by like clicking I agree. You actually agree that you will not show their logo is one of the things you agree to. And you agree that you will not like use it for like video production purposes or something like that. Like I remember reading through it and it's like you're not allowed to show the Apple logo on a thing you bought.
But they like individually waive that for good guys?
But it's in their terms of service that they can come after you for it, but they, for the most part, don't enforce it.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was looking at that going, I only ran into it back when we were trying to do a review of like the iPhone SE or something like that. That was when I became aware of it because I just like I saw it there and I was like, what? How am I supposed to? Yeah, how am I supposed to do?
How can I review this?
Yeah, without what do I have to tape over the stupid thing like I'm filming a commercial?
Put a pear on it.
Yeah, exactly. That went pear-shaped fast. Hey, so I ended up looking into how someone can possibly enforce what you can or cannot do with an object that you buy.
Yeah.
Because it's a really gray area. So on the one hand, they own that logo. Like that's their trademark and copyright and blah, 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 blah. But on the other hand, it's not my fault they put it on the thing I bought. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, wait, no, sorry, hold on. Yeah, we can take the family picture. Let me just put my phone away so the logo's not showing because I promised Apple I wouldn't show it to anybody. Like, and it's not even in Apple's best interest to have people hiding their Apple logos. Like, why
specifically isn't?
Yeah, why would they even want that? Unless they're hiding the Apple logos for bad guys. So in Knives Out, I think I'm not really spoiling anything because it's a murder mystery. Someone's got to be the bad guy. Apparently, Apple has a policy, so they did not allow the bad person to use an iPhone because they have a policy where you're allowed to use iPhones in movies. Oh, thank you, gracious Apple. We can promote your product for free. Oh, yes, thank you. Please bestow upon me more thy blessings. But only if it's a good guy. So it seems like if I were to watch another murder mystery sometime in the future, I could now have the movie spoiled for me by Apple's inane policy.
So if there's like a bunch of people with iPhones and then one person with not an iPhone, you're like, oh, well, okay.
This is one of those things that I don't go as far as some of our viewers do on this, where there's people out there that don't understand why brands don't want their product running as like a YouTube pre-roll on a very controversial video, for example.
Sure.
You know, like why, I don't know that this is their policy. I'm just going to pick a name, you know, wallstore.com or whatever, okay? It's not a real company, or
Nice.
unless it is. Okay, hold on a second. Realfakewalls.com. Okay, wallstore.com. Is this the thing?
It's just camped.
Domain has
I
expired.
actually kind of expected that to be a thing.
Wallstore.com. Hold on a second. Please tell me this is available. I want wallstore.com. Can't be.
There was a domain purchased on a Friday, and the accounting department came to me asking if we bought it on Wanshow because they couldn't figure out who bought it.
We do that sometimes.
I was like, no.
Okay,
not this
well,
one.
I bet they would come to you if we bought this one. Wallstore.com, 50 grand, no problem. I mean, it's only Canadian rubles. That's like 40 grand.
Yeah.
So, sorry, what were we talking about again? No, yes, right. So I get it. I get why a brand wouldn't want their name and their logo right before, you know, some very graphic or disturbing video, or
Especially Wallstore. They spent so much money on their domain.
yeah, or one that expresses views that, you know, some people might associate with their brand and that they consider doesn't represent their brand values. I understand that. Sort of. Like, on the one hand, I see I see both sides of this one. Because on the one hand, I can see why a brand doesn't want their logo right next to, you know, what if the first frame of this video is like someone screeching F words about, you know, some ethnic minority or something. Like, you don't need that. It's kind of like when people take out of context, well, I'm not saying that guy whose name starts with an H was right. I'm just saying, where people just take that clip. Like, it's just not helpful. You know what I mean? For their image. But I also see the argument where people say, look, who is stupid enough to think that some ad running on YouTube somehow means that that brand endorses, you know, baby slavery or whatever,
There is
right?
some stuff that's a little funky with that, though, because
There is.
because you can buy ads and target them. So, like, when you said something that could be stereotypically related to a brand, but they don't want it to be there because they don't agree with that association, if they just spread their video out randomly, it could land there, and then people could think that it was targeted for that, and then that reinforces that idea. It's because there is manipulation behind the scenes, it makes it a little bit worse.
And people could assume that it was on purpose, I guess is what you mean. Yeah. So that's a fair point. But I also think that some of it gets to the point of being kind of irrational. So we had a recent episode of Tech Linked where we discussed the ongoing health problem in the world.
Yep.
And we got a yellow $ instead of a green one, which meant limited advertising. And
that's ridiculous.
Well, yes and no. See, again, I see it from both sides because, don't touch your eyes, by the way. That's bad. I was touching my eyes. Don't do that.
I scratched my nose. Sick. Oh, no.
Oh boy. Okay, so on the one hand, that seems ridiculous. Just because someone is talking about, let's say I have a video coming out tomorrow on the Linus Tech Tips channel where I'm going to be discussing what I think are going to be the effects on pricing and availability of computer hardware due to the manufacturing shutdowns. And I end up tiptoeing around naming the issue that's going on because if I talk about it directly, I'm afraid that my video is going to get demonetized. That seems absurd.
It feels like a monetization version of like speech control to a certain degree.
But the flip side is I can see how if I'm an advertiser or if I'm the YouTube platform, I don't want everybody and their dog jumping onto the latest viral spread or the latest mass shooting or the latest, genocide or whatever it is, making, that video. This thing was so bad, and just talking about nothing for 10 minutes so they can cash in on a hot keyword. I also have a pretty strong objection to that behavior. Just making sure that you're the first to make a video about and
Yeah.
the first to tweet about how bad something is. We know it's bad. Thank you very much for that. We have brains. We can think. We know it's
so I
bad.
guess it's hard to
So-
automatically differentiate
Yes.
between the content that has that subject in it that is quality and the content that has that subject in it that is just a waste of space and time.
So let's try to come up with the right answer to this one. If you're Apple, do you allow bad guys to use iPhones, knowing that it is within your right to control how your trademarked and or copyrighted imagery is displayed in a commercial production like a Hollywood film?
If it was me,
Yeah.
without the context of you potentially countering, I would. Now I am considering that like
What does that bad guy do?
iPhones are for douche whatevers. Bags is not a bad word, whatever, is like a thing. And if your bad guy is that, you're reinforcing that stereotype. So I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it's a stereotype. Hold on, careful.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I could see if that starts becoming a problem for their marketing department,
Right.
that their marketing department might want to counter that. But there's also good guys that are douchebags. So like
Yeah.
I don't think I don't necessarily know that it accomplishes anything.
I don't know what the right answer is because honestly, if it was me, I would probably care a little bit. Like when we distributed, LTT water bottles and underwear and all that kind of stuff to influencers. That's yours.
Cool.
When we distributed a bunch of water bottles and stuff to influencers, it's not like I went out and found people that I think are buttheads and like had them repping the merch.
But this isn't Apple distributing the phones for the movies.
That's true.
This would be like you telling an influencer that you'll sue them if they use your water bottle.
That's true, but I guess what I'm saying is if I have the ability to have my merchandise be in the hands and on the rumps of people that I think are cool,
Yeah.
versus if it's on someone that I think is not cool, I would definitely choose that.
Sure.
Not that I actually think any of our viewers are stupid enough to think because some butthead were actually, okay. Maybe this matters more than I thought. Like think about Supreme.
Yeah.
You see someone wearing a Supreme hat. First thought, go.
Rich, really bad with money, douche.
Okay. So maybe this matters. I wonder if this is a policy that came about because Apple had problems with it. Because you think about it.
That's what I was saying though, is like if they recognize that perception.
Like nowadays, Android phones cost as much or more than an iPhone.
Yeah.
But in the early days of the iPhone, it was very, very expensive and like a status symbol that
Yeah.
could have potentially been utilized as a way to portray someone as snobby in a film. So maybe
I think that era is where that stereotype came from. I don't
Right.
really think it applies
So
very
that-
well anymore.
I mean, that would be when? That would be like the early, like 3GS, 4,
Yeah.
5 era kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like,
but that's when those types of things get established.
right. Interesting. You know
Like,
what?
like one that I would bring up is in terms of like association that you don't ask for and it goes really poorly is I'm gonna use words that sound like I'm not serious about it, but it's just because I don't want the video to get in trouble. That
Thanks.
pew pew thing that was really bad that happened in New Zealand.
Yes.
He named PewDiePie.
Yes. And for some reason, even though Felix had nothing to do with it, all of a sudden there's this association. So
Yeah,
I'm not
and,
going to
like-
say our audience is dumb enough to do that, but people as a whole clearly have trouble differentiating
Yeah,
between.
and like
Yeah.
I wouldn't really. To be very clear, I don't care what they do because who cares what person uses a phone in a multi-million-dollar movie production? Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Whatever. I don't know. It's so like I can't imagine someone's stance on this where they're like infuriated.
In my movie, everyone would use rotary phones.
Nice.
I actually watched.
That would actually be hilarious.
I watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with my kids the other night.
Oh man,
It-
he's coming back for another one.
No.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Rick Moranis is coming
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have picked the Shrunk the Kids franchise if I was to
I'm pretty
be
sure
like,
it's
hey,
that.
Ricky, come on back. Let's do a movie, please.
Rick Moranis to make Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reboot after 23-year break.
Wow.
Canadian actor, and oh my god, this website is horrible. Look at this viewport. What is this?
Well,
The
your
Guardian?
privacy is very important. Actually, you know what? It's okay. When you click that, it goes away.
Like, but look at this. Look at this viewport.
I know. Just click. You're okay with that. It's okay. It's okay.
No.
Why would he come back with a reboot, though?
Does it like?
He did so much original stuff.
Go away.
Officially returning. I'm kind of jazzed, though. I'm gonna go see that.
Yeah. Well, I just think that's really cool.
You know what? That movie is extraordinarily poorly rated on like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny reading critics' reviews of kids' movies that you watched when you were a kid.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Because you've got that nostalgia filter for it where you appreciated it for what it was, a movie for kids. Whereas they're going in and talking about how the narrative flow wasn't this, or the acting of the kids was not that, or whatever. And I'm looking at it going, dude, I was like 6. It was awesome. What are you talking about?
Okay.
My kids loved it, which is surprising given how out of date a lot of things inherently are about it. Like the idea that you would need an intercom in your house to talk to someone on another floor, you know?
Yeah.
And that was like a kooky, high-tech idea, you know?
Okay. Business idea.
Yes.
Spoiled candy. Review rating website just for kids' movies and stuff. Not based on professional critics.
Based on kids.
Based on kids that just press the button as they leave the theater.
Did you just call it a theater?
Yeah. Cinema?
Theater?
Yeah. Theater?
Cover up, you're Canadian to show.
I don't know, whatever. But you just press the button.
I like it.
And you could maybe even have like the attendant guy that's bored anyways at the theater.
Yeah.
Just or whatever. Just make sure that they don't like.
Yeah.
But
You'd
like
have to do
just
something.
just press the button, and that's all the input.
But are you allowed to collect data from kids? Would you even be allowed to collect that? So this is why kids don't know what to watch in the cinema.
Cinema. Yeah, I like that one. I'm going to call it that in the future. But I don't. Maybe you have the parent press it. But like, I feel like that would be cool. Is that? Yeah, that would be bad, wouldn't it? Because that would be collecting data from kids. That sucks. I thought that was a cool idea.
All right, well, I'm excited to see Rick Moranis come back. He's a Canadian treasure. He stepped back to look after his family after his wife unexpectedly passed away, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and I really respected that decision. But
Yep.
it has also been 23 years, so I respect this decision.
Yeah,
I think that's cool.
I think his kids are probably slightly,
Dude.
7
okay.
out of 10 grown up at this point,
Yeah.
or not. In which case, I guess he wasn't doing a great job anyway. Well, that's not a nice thing to say, but I know nothing about his family life, and that's been kind of the point. Is he's just gone completely dark.
The fact that he made that move and the fact that he dedicated to that move makes me assume that he's probably